10 a.m. Remember to stream us online at www.kaiternewsonline.com or the MyTuner app, Radio Garden app, and you can also join us on Facebook at Kaieteur Radio. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good evening and welcome to this evening's newscast on Kaieteur Radio. Kevin Smith here. Let's get to the news in detail. Just 2 days ago, ExxonMobil announced that it had ceased its significant flaring of toxic natural gas at its Liza Phase 1 operations, its first commercial investment offshore Guyana. This development followed after Exxon, which prides itself on being an effective manager of emissions, failed to mitigate flaring at Liza 1 for 1 year. Recent details from the EPA now show that in that same year, ExxonMobil would have flared 12.4 billion cubic feet of gas per day, equivalent to the removal of 1.6 million acres of forest. In simpler terms, this means that Exxon flared toxic natural gas that could have been offset by a forest the size of Region 2. Meanwhile, the EPA is once again not requiring an environmental impact assessment be conducted for the construction and operation of another chemical storage facility. In this instant, the proposed project, which is a construction of a hazardous material storage facility, is expected to be undertaken by John Finance Limited at Plantation Fairfield, Maikoni, on the east coast of Demerara. An assessment is usually conducted by the EPA to evaluate the likely environmental impacts of a proposed project or development, taking into account interrelated socio-economic, cultural, and human health impacts, both beneficial and adverse. And now let's tell you, controversial GECOM Deputy CEO Roxanne Myers will assume the duties of CEO as Keith Lowenfield proceeds on annual leave. GECOM sought to clear the misconception that Lowenfield was ordered to proceed on leave by the chair, Claudette Singh, as was previously reported. The commission said that Lowenfield applied last September 1st for his accumulative 2016 to 2019 annual leave, totaling 146 days. GECOM said that Lowenfield's request was approved by the chairperson and his leave commenced on September 7th. Lowenfield is due back to work on January 30th next year. Meanwhile, John Blanchard, the Soestdijk East Bank Demerara man who was convicted in 2016 for hacking his 3 children to death while they slept, has lost his bid to appeal the severity of his sentence. He was sentenced to 30 years imprisonment by Justice Joanne Barlow following an appearance at the High Court in 2016. He had admitted that he fatally chopped and stabbed his 3 young children, Joy, aged 6 years old, 10-year-old Balaika, and 4-year-old Daniel. In other news, SOCU have begun combing through the finances of PNCR member James Bond as it continues investigations into the large-scale giveaway of prime state lands at Peters Hall, East Bank Demerara. Sources close to the investigation confirmed this with us. Bond also posted about SOCU digging into his finances on his Facebook page. The attorney at law is accused of being the mastermind behind a number of deals which saw 30 acres of state land being transferred to Chinese national Jai Fenyu. Not only that, Bond was said to have also pocketed more than $120 million from both deals. And moving on, the APNU-AFC coalition, now in opposition, have opted to abstain from tomorrow's parliamentary session. They are blaming the Speaker of the National Assembly's failure to convene the all-important Public Accounts Committee, or PAC. That decision was prompted after the order paper for the 14th sitting of the National Assembly did not contain the convening of the PAC as one of the agendas listed. Opposition MP and touted head of the PAC, David Patterson, in a letter to the Speaker, Manzoor Nadir, outlined his disappointment that this was not done. And now let's tell you the sinkhole that appeared on Monday at Vredenhoop on the west bank of Demerara was not caused by natural forces. Rather, it was caused by a man who was living under the bridge. It appears that the man dug out the sand from the side of the road, causing it to weaken. Eventually, it caused the road to sink. The hole appeared not far from the branch of the Bank of Guyana Trade and Industry. This was reported today by a minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Diorat Indar. Repairs have started on the roadway, the main link to the west coast of Marara and the Essequibo Islands and coast. And on that very strange note, we end this evening's newscast. I am Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Kaieteur Radio.